All right, we got our planning session done. Week 1, Here we
Yes.
go.
Yeah, so it is the third week of January. Typically, we take a nice long break through basically like, what did you say, the second week of November is when we're kind of to the end of our food processing. Because
Right.
typically we get our first frost like the first week of October. This year it was like the last week of September. And then we spend a bunch of time harvesting up into that. We get everything in, and then we spend like a month finishing up processing everything.
We used to always butcher pigs at the end of November when the temperature was right, but we have a cold room now, so we got a little flexibility there.
That's true. Yeah,
So just most of y'all, by the time December rolls around, we're pretty much done processing the pigs,
yeah.
and we're into getting ready for Christmas and kind of taking a break from the farm.
Yeah, so what have you been working on this week? Because this is kind of when we like to do the things that we don't have time for the rest of the year.
All right.
So.
Yeah, so I just finished up with the ferment of some sauerkraut that I made, so I didn't make that this week, but that just finished up. I'm getting the seed start stuff ready, so sorting through the vermicomposting, the worm bins, screening off all the casings from all the rest of the bin and starting new bins.
And backing off. You're kind of backing off. You're not heavy feeding them, yeah.
Not as much. So they're starting to dry, their bins are starting to dry out a little bit. They're finishing off the food that's in there, and it's turning into basically pure worm casings. And then, we're getting that screened out, getting the seed starting mix going. So we're gonna start with the seed starts.
So Jake is sifting out all of the worm casings. So we have a bin that's full of fine worm casings and compost and biochar. It's got a little bit of vermiculite in it too. That's what's shiny. But that's just because we were dumping last year's seed starts from our germination mix. We mix in vermiculite. So those all got composted back into the worm bins. So there's some vermiculite in them still. But we also put in biochar. So the worm casings have been inoculating the biochar, and this compost that's rich in worm casings and biochar is then just loaded with microbial life in it and super healthy. And so we just take a little bit of it and put it into our homemade germination mix, and the plants just totally thrive with it. So it's been a huge game changer. We did over 10,000 seed starts last year, and we didn't have a single pest for the first time ever. So it's just been amazing to switch to using this stuff over what we were doing before. And we found that everything grew way better out in the garden too, because then we're transplanting the soil out into the garden, and
The biochar is right at the base of each plant.
yep.
And that's it. Basically,
Yeah.
that's all I'm doing right now. Planning.
I spent a lot of time this week. We did a seed start sale last year where we sold like over 10,000 starts. I think it was crazy. We had the whole shop in here filled up. So we had tons and tons of seed that we had to order for that. And then I hate throwing away seed. It feels wrong. So I have seed packets back from 2019 when we first started gardening. So I finally just went through all of it. And I threw away any seed that was older than 2021. It killed me to do it, but I knew that at this point, the germination rate on those older seeds is going to be like 20 to 30%. It will literally be so much more work to try and plant that seed, wait for whatever's going to germinate, and then go replant it than it would be to just get fresh seed and plant it and save time, because time is money. So I threw away anything older than 2021. I kept some things from 2022 that I've been keeping in cold storage and that I know is going to be a little bit more viable. And then 2023 and newer I kept, because that still feels really new to me. So after I got everything sorted, I went ahead and threw away a bunch of seed. We got like an entire trash sack full. It felt so good to lose the dead weight. And then after that, I started taking inventory of what we do and don't have so that I know what to order. I try new things every year, but I also have our tried and true favorites. So typically the way I do it is I'll have our top crop. So for example, for corn, it's Essence F1 from Johnny's. We absolutely love the sweet corn. And then every year I'll try one or two different varieties next to it, and then we'll all sample it, and we'll either vote the old favorite is still the favorite, or the new one is the new favorite. And then the following year, if we voted on a new one, then that would be our top crop, and then we would try another variety against it. So I'm always trying to find a new variety, but I make sure that we grow like 75% of the one we know we love and 25% of the one that we're not sure of yet that we're testing. And that way, if it's not very good, then we have the majority of what we need. And if it is great, then we've got a good amount, and then we'll grow more next year. I don't like to do any of my seed orders until I have my garden plan completely done. And that's just because buying seeds before you have your garden plan in place is like going grocery shopping when you're hungry and you don't have a meal plan. You end up buying a whole lot of what you don't need. You don't buy all the components of what you do need. So you end up having to do more shopping, and then you have a bunch of food that you don't want to waste, but you actually really don't want to eat either. And so same thing with garden planning. You want to make sure that you really plan the garden based on what you're going to preserve and what you're actually going to eat. So 90% of our garden plan goes to that, and then about 10% goes to the fun stuff. And if I do my seed shopping before I do my garden planning, then I end up putting 90% toward the fun stuff and 10% toward the stuff we're actually going to eat. So I have to make sure I do the garden plan first. And now that we have the size of our garden plot figured out, I'm going to go finish the garden plan as quickly as possible. I'll take you guys along with me for that, and then I'm going to finish up our seed shopping and hopefully get everything ordered. I always try to have everything ordered by the end of January because seed varieties start selling out and it gets harder to get your hands on the good stuff, and so I want to get everything ordered and have it in time to start seeds mid-February. The last thing to do was to get all of my seed packets organized into these photo organizer boxes that I got off of Amazon years ago with the intent to do this project. I just haven't had time to get around to it. So now every box is a different plant. So eggplant or tomato or pepper, you open the box and all the different varieties are in there. I am so glad to have this done. It feels so good to go into this year really organized and to know now that everything has a home and I can quickly find what I need, and I'm not going to be just sorting through piles and piles of seed packets like I have been in the past. So this project took forever, but it feels so good to have it done. Jake and I just got done measuring out the space that we have, and we're going to now go sit down and plan out our 1/4 acre plot. We need to figure out roughly where we're going to put the animals so that we can figure out the exact amount of space we have to put toward the garden. And then once we have that garden perimeter, I can from there make a garden plan, which I need to do as soon as possible so that I can get our seeds ordered. So we're going to do that. We're going to take you along with us. It's probably going to be boring. I'll try and cut out all of the unnecessary stuff and just show you the main points. But I always want to see people actually talk back and forth and hear their thinking process and why they land on going about something the way that they do. So we're going to show that to you. If you don't want to see it, the rest of the video is going to be the planning process. So just feel free to skip right on ahead. You won't be missing anything other than that. And we'll see you in the next video. If you want to stick around, hopefully this will be helpful to you. I love this kind of thing, but I know it's not for everyone.
So here's the gate where we would come in. A little man gate and then the driving gate. We got the little, what used to be the guinea coop here.
Trees.
Willows, a couple little shrubs and stuff down here. Yeah. So we basically have a clean slate. We have neighbors with sheep and llamas and cows along this fence line. So we don't want to plant anything that the cows can reach over or llamas can reach over and eat.
Right.
We also probably don't want to put the pigs right up against this fence. So we can do chickens over here maybe.
And we can run the chickens through. I mean, they're not going to hurt the trees.
They will not hurt the trees. They might hurt the shrubs, but they definitely won't hurt the trees.
So we could really just do a line. I mean, what would be the easiest is just to do a line across, basically, and just give them an entire long run and then move a mobile coop. This for the meat chickens especially, move the mobile coop in so they've got shade and housing, and then just let them have the whole run. And we can wood chip. I mean, we kind of need to wood chip this anyways for the trees purpose. So then as they, poop on it, bring wood chips in. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And we'd have to redo this fence, put some chicken wire along the bottom of that fence, but that's fine. Yeah. But that's going to be, I mean, as far as material goes, then we were taking advantage of the 3 fencing sides of fence we already have. So then we're just basically building a fence right down this line here, 12 feet. Is that too much?
We're going to give them a 12, which is kind of a lot. But
That's not very straight. You could get a ruler next time. I'd appreciate it.
Okay. So chickens. So meat chickens.
Yeah. All right. And we're going to have our trees are going to explode after this year once we do that.
Right.
All right. So we have meat rabbits, which could also actually go in. Well, if we put them in with the chickens, we're going to lose the manure because the chickens are going to scratch it. So probably don't want to put them in with the
It would
chickens.
be nice to put them in some shade, but we don't really have any shade besides those trees. So.
And those even aren't much.
Right.
I mean, we could put the coops. Well, the coops would be on the south side. We can't put them on the north side, so it wouldn't matter.
This fence here is not pig fence, so
Right.
we're not gaining anything by being right up against it. And if we wanted to run, like have the chickens, give the chickens access all the way down, I don't know if we do. But.
Where are you thinking of putting the pigs? Like, what's your thought, Ben?
I mean, ideally they'd be up here where their manure would run downhill, but we should probably just keep them away from the house and away from.
The thing is, if we put them back here, then we've got to leave a truck road to get the feed all the way back here, I think.
Or well, we can drive in here, can we? I don't know
There's
if I made that
a
gate big
dog
enough.
run. I mean, yeah, we can unload feed here and walk it. It's just that's actually a pretty far way to.
We could put them here, and then we could put the feed outside and feed over the top.
Are we cheating on our quarter acre if we do that?
No. I mean, we can put if we wanted to, we could put the barrels on the inside of the fence, and we just drive the truck up to it. And feed.
And all over the top.
I mean, this is basically, if you could figure this as an alley in the back of the quarter acre or whatever.
Yeah. True.
I mean, we don't want to give ourselves a full driveway. I guess that's maybe reality on a quarter acre. You need to be able to drive through it, but. So we'll put the pigs here, let's say. I mean, we need to give them a fair amount of space.
I mean, I think we can give them a bigger chunk of space here than we can. If we do this, then we're going. I'd like to keep the beds of the garden universally sized so that I can move everything. So if we have a chunk out of them here, it's going to mess.
We just can't get the feed to there, but I guess we could get it to right here.
And
that'd
then
be close
walk
enough.
it. Yeah, that's close enough.
The rabbits.
Rabbits can also, I guess it's nice to have them next to the water supply, but they can be, I mean, like you said.
We have water here too, though.
Yeah, that's true. So we could put the rabbits. This is like a dead space because it's
Right.
the walkway. So that's another good spot for them.
Okay, so maybe for now, we put the rabbits back down here. Okay, so then the pigs, we should just do a hot wire, figure it out. We're going to be gardening all in here, so it should be moist and wet enough ground. We can do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna
be tight.
Well, this is gonna get gross before
Yeah.
the year's up. I mean, if we go we probably don't want them to be right up next to the chickens, but if we went to there.
Yeah, if I take the bees out of here, we have a huge footprint, and the bees would be fine on this other side. It seems like this is the better spot for them than here, right? Is that what we're thinking?
I think so.
So we'll have to think on how to make that all work, but we at least know where we're going to put them.
I mean, the other option is we just give them a really big spot. Then we only have to build one hut.
Yeah. If we keep ourselves limited to 2 or 3 at the very most, it's not going to be near the damage that we've experienced. So that actually it's going to still get destroyed, but not quite to the level of what we've had to deal with.
I mean, could the chickens and the pigs share a spot if they had like a little passageway through there? That would be really nice for everybody's sake. Flies and...
Yeah. Like you mean go in the coop?
They go into the pig pen and then they have access over here to their spot. Then you could have 30 of them. I mean, our coop isn't...
Are you saying the pigs have access to the coop or the chickens have access to the pigs?
No, the chickens have access to the pigs.
Okay. I mean, it seems like if we raise the piglets, if we had chickens in with the piglets from when the piglets couldn't get the chickens, I don't know that they would go after
I think they'd be
them.
okay.
We've only had pigs get the chickens when they're like big and...
As long as the pigs can't get to the chickens' food, I think they're fine.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe we have the pig hut here and we build a little passageway from the chicken coop into the pig hut, and then they have this yard, and then they have this whole yard. But I don't know if their coop is big. That coop isn't big enough for. Maybe it is.
I think at most we've had like 12-ish chickens in there, and that was pretty tight. It's more like 6 to 8 size.
Some more coops.
No, we have the mobile ones. We're not building anymore. The mobile ones will definitely fit in here.
Yeah, that'll work for those. It's just the layers. I mean, we can fit 30 of them in here if they're sharing the pen with the pigs. It's just that the coop isn't quite big enough now.
I mean, I just think we leave the layers with the meat chickens. Worst case scenario, we put, like you said, put 10 in the coop so we have eggs for sure and see how this is going. We'll know they're supposed to be laying, so if we're not getting eggs, then we'll...
Well, the meat chickens are going to go away in July.
Yeah.
And then we start saving for water glass after that.
Well, yeah, except for I typically start water glassing in spring because that's when we're getting all the excess eggs. But like I said, we'll know. I mean, in spring, the chicks won't even be out here yet. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're getting stuck on. Let's figure out so we've got the animals. We're going to move the bees. We probably want to put them actually toward the back so they're not right where everyone's walking in.
Okay, so if we leave ourselves this whole 15 feet to kind of get around in, then we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got 72 feet of garden space, and then...
So mark it. So let's start. Do we keep the 8-foot walkway or do we do 4 foot?
I mean, we kind of need as much space as we can get, but...
I usually do 8. Yeah, I have 6 in the market garden and I have 8. With the way it is right now, I can mow it at 8. I can't mow it at 6.
Okay.
I'm not sure though. I just planning on putting weed barrier down, so I almost want to just leave 6.
Okay.
Just do 6-foot weed barrier and then start the row.
So we got 64 by 72.
So at 30-inch wide beds with 18-inch walkways, 4 goes into 72 18 times. So we can do 18 rows that are 64 foot long.
I mean, we could potentially do like corn along here.
Yeah.
Or something, so we're not, I mean, this is 8 feet, so that's enough to drive back, and then we can't get by the rabbits anyway, so if we did corn there, and we could try to hug something along this fence line too. The other thing we could do is we could cut this off, move the bees into here, because this is where I don't really want the chickens in this spot anyway. Do the bees here. Yeah. And then do the feeding. That way you could drive all the way to here, do the feed.
That makes more sense. Otherwise, you're going to have to cut into the garden anyway. Okay.
Then we could do corn or something all the way along here. And then once you get past where we're feeding them, right here, you could do...
You know what? We could do some mammoth sunflowers. I think I have the row that would be slightly outside of this anyway that will shade the chickens.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, I think we got a plan.
Yes. Got a plan. High five.
I knew it, Amanda.
All right. I get to plant the garden.
Yeah.
Now I know what I have.